And now, it's time for the brand new feature, where I ask you for recommendations for everything from toy shops to tyre salons, weekends away to staycations. Then I share your suggestions with our listeners worldwide. Here's where the magic happens in
CROWDSOURCERY.
Yes, CROWDSOURCERY. This week we look at cafés and tea rooms across the region, with some excellent contributions from all points of the compass. Let's start with Ben Francis, park manager at Raw Dinosaur Adventure Park. You can have that one free, Ben. I can only agree with Ben that East of England is spoilt for choice in wonderful individual venues, and I concur that the Goat Shed at Honingham near Norwich is a fabulous find and highly recommended. They have their own blend of coffee. Their own coffee! As if by magic, future guest of Eastern Promise, Sam Steggles appears, MD of Fielding Cottage, Nuffield scholar and owner of the Goat Shed, who pops up to thank Ben and invite him for coffee and a catch-up. Now, I can't guarantee that participation in CROWDSOURCERY will get you an invite to your favourite coffee shop, but you never know, eh? Personally, I also have great affection for Cool Beans Cafe at the Epicentre at Haverhill Research Park. Genial gentleman of business Brian Bush, solutionist, advocate and connector, introduced me to Old Hall Farm Cafe at Woodton, which is a godsend for gluten-free grub. And I can't stop without giving a shout-out to the Coffee Lounge at Breckland Lodge, just off the A11 near Attleborough, where I've held many an Eastern Promise meeting. Let's spread the love to Cambridgeshire with the West Hub at the Cavendish Laboratory at the University of Cambridge. But enough of my personal battles with the Demon Bean. Andrew Stronach, head of external relations at the Quadram Institute, confesses he's a big fan of Kofra coffee roasters and natural wines on Durham Street. Andrew says, a real weekend treat. Sue Simmons, BT Innovation Showcase Manager at Adastral Park, gives us the Ipswich perspective. As an Ipswich girl, that's Sue, not me, gotta say, she says, they have the lovely Honey and Harvey in Ipswich now too. And there's the Shed at Sproughton for a trip back in time for tea and wonderful antiques. The Botanist, she says, is pretty good too. Thank you, Sue. Someone who definitely knows her granola bar from her flapjack is breakfast cereal revivalist Marietta Hickman, founder of Cheeky Nibble, who name-checks the Norfolk Deli at Hunstanton, Byford's in Holt, and Siding in Melton Constable. Now, what I want back is those transfers you used to have where you'd scribble over them with a pencil and they'd transfer onto the box. Can you get that back, Marietta, please? Friend of the show, Dr. Catherine Gelbert-Thick, writes, the Teapot in Swaffham is great, friendly service, super cakes and food. And for the younger generation, Shelley's in Swaffham has an equally good counter and music. Matt Skipper, head of new business at Mills & Reeve and chair of the CBI Future Leaders Network East, suggests the Greengrocers at Earlham. And, when by the coast, Matt calls in at the Dunes Cafe at Waxham Barnes for a very nice breakfast and huge fresh cream scone. We shall not be entering the scone versus scone debates here. It's a scone, and there's an end to it. Back to Norwich, and Dr. Penny Hundleby recommends Dirra in the Earlham Shopping Centre, where she's a frequent caller on her daily commute to the John Innes Centre. Penny adds that the owners have made a little community there, and it's really added to the area. And that's Dirra, DYRRAH.co.uk. Penny also adds the award-winning Station Bistro at Wyndham to the list. More from them later in the year. ... Cue the suspenseful chord! The Carmel Cafe in Bacton does a roaring trade and holds the odd beer festival too. So says Simon Blackwell of Organic Biosolutions. Paul Grenier, senior platform engineer at fintech startup Snoop, cites Aroma on Upper King Street in Norwich as his favourite independent cafe. Further out, he and his wife love the Orangery Tea Room at Ketteringham Hall, which you can find at orangerytearoom.co.uk. Also a fan of the Orangery Tea Room is Catherine Morris Gretton, communications lead at Norwich City Council, who spotted a painful flaw in the crowdsourcery model. The agony of choice. Catherine's top picks are Bramley's Cafe and Cakery at Helston Barnes, Cavick House Farm Cafe in Wyndham, Any Bread Sauce Cafe, Cherry Leaf in St Giles, Norwich, brackets, good for gluten-free, she says, and she's recently discovered the Walled Garden Cafe in Little Plumstead, which, she says, is stunning. Catherine's choices were quickly endorsed by Tom Holmes, Events and Engagement Manager for the Big C Cancer Charity, which does amazing work, as does Tom, who's currently on parental leave, and so both busier, more sleep-deprived, and in direst need of caffeine. Tom adds a piece of cake in Coltishall, White House Farm at Sprouston, and the feed at Waterloo Park. He puts them into the cake mix. Tom, thank you for the fantastic suggestions, but I do the groan-inducing puns around here. All right. That was a really pathetic attempt on my part to sound menacing. I really can't carry that off. Also a fan of Coltishall's piece of cake is Michelle Chambers, Business Development Manager at Chaplin Farrant, who, when in Norwich, likes marmalades in the Royal Arcade, surrounded by Victorian architecture combined with Art Nouveau and a hot chocolate. Well, at Michelle's suggestion, whilst ambling down the Royal Arcade in Norwich with my daughter, I decided to put marmalades to the test. Well, here I am at Marmalades. Hello. Here I am at Marmalades in the Royal Arcade, as recommended by Michelle Chambers of Chaplin Farrant. And I have to report that, yes, very good recommendation, Michelle. Well done, nice one.
The Coke's the best.
The Coke's the best, apparently. So, now you know how it goes. Crowdsourcery, get your recommendations out there, and you never know.
Always get the Coke.
Always get the Coke, thank you. We may be dropping in on your recommendation very soon.
And to get the ice.
Eastern Promise available at easternpromise.podbean.site.
And always listen to the Buy One.
Bye. Thank you to my darling daughter for her starring performance. No promotional consideration on behalf of the Coca-Cola Company has been made or offered. But leave it to Neil Griffin, Innovation Director at Colchester's Innovation Centre Knowledge Gateway, to give us a real pan-Anglian view of the best coffee spots. He says, in Suffolk it has to be Honey and Harvey in Woodbridge. In Norfolk it has to be Café 33 in Norwich. And Essex obviously has to be our very own Mission Café 19 in the Colchester Innovation Centre Knowledge Gateway. I'm in Colchester next week, so I'll be giving Mission Café 19 a go then. Thank you all, and I'll be trying out as many of your suggestions as I can. If you give any of the above eateries and coffee houses a go, on the basis of these recommendations, please do tell them that you heard it here on Eastern Promise. I mean, you won't get a free coffee or a slice of cake, but I might. Next week, at the request of superfan Penny Hundleby, we'll be looking at short breaks. Where in the region, that's in the region, so not Bridport or Skegness, do you like to spend a few days away? Essex, Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, Suffolk. It can be your favourite campsite, glamp site, beachfront B&B, or boutique hotel, or even wild camping, where safe and legal to do so.
Crowdsourcery.
Thank you to Sarah Steed and the Norwich University Arts, to Amp Builder Extraordinaire, Engineer 49, to all my crowdsourcers, and most of all to you for listening wherever you are. Until next time, I've been Mike Rigby on LinkedIn and Twitter at EP the Podcast UK or email at host@easternpromise.site. Bye for now.